Hi, everybody. This is Eva from SocaMom.com, and it is book club night. So tonight we are talking to Jewel Amethyst, and she has, I don't know if this is backwards, it might be backwards, but it's called Hurricane of the Heart. And so far, so good. People have been really loving it. And so tonight we're going to talk about it. And we have Sherry and Marcia, and joining us soon we have Carol and Jamie. You can tweet us using the hashtag Caribbean Book Club or hashtag Hurricane Heart. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started and have the author introduce herself.
Hi everybody, how is everybody doing tonight?
Good, good, good.
Okay,
Wonderful.
good. All right, great to hear that. I'm Jewel Amethyst, author of several multicultural romances. My first book, which is called A Marriage of Convenience, was written somewhere around 2009, and at the same time I wrote a short story, which is in an anthology called Holiday Brides, which is called From Escape with Love. And I also deviated a little and wrote a children's book with my daughter. And now I've written this new book, Hurricane of the Heart, which is a wonderful romance between an American guy and an indigenous lady from Dominica. She's one of the indigenous populations of the Caribbean called Kalinago. Most of you would know it as Caribs. And it might be the first book starring first romance starring such a person. And as we go on, we'll tell you more about the book and a little more about me as well. You'll get to know me as we continue.
All right. So you have written several books.
Yes.
So what's your favorite genre? Is romance your favorite? Because it seems like you've got more than one. Is that your favorite?
Yes, it is my favorite to write. Not necessarily my favorite to read, but it's definitely my favorite to write.
So what is it about that genre that you really enjoy writing? Are you pulling experiences from your own life or from the lives of your friends? You know, what is it about that you enjoy writing?
It's a combination. What I like happiness. And one of the things that's most common to this genre is that in the end, it all works out and we get our happy ever after. And that's what I like about it. It gives hope. And that's what I like about it. But I also, I'm certain at some point in my life I'll write other genres. But I'll always come back to romance because romance gives me that happiness and instills that hope that everything would be all right and love comforts us all no matter what.
Okay, so in this book, give us like a quick synopsis, something that would make people say, I have to go out and get this book. Like what's the first impression that people should get when they start, when they're looking for a romance book? When they're looking at this one, what is the first thing that they're going to feel when they read this?
Well, you definitely feel a lot of tension between the between the lead characters, as well as you will definitely feel the love building because it doesn't, it's not love at first sight. It's two totally different people. Alia, the native Dominican, the Kalinago, she is an ambitious person. She has come up with a life of poverty, and now she's seeking to make herself better through education, and she has a lot of goals in life. And she really doesn't care for a man, okay? But then in steps Kyle, and Kyle is this, American playboy on vacation. He goes there to attend his cousin's wedding, and he just wants to party. So there's a lot of friction between them. And then somehow they end up trapped in a hurricane in a little rundown village with nowhere else to go. And you can see his growth as
Mhm.
he tries to survive and as and deal with the aftermath. And you can see her blossoming, her opening, her beginning to open to love, beginning to open to romance. So you feel a lot of tension, and you feel the building, and you feel the love between them. It's not first page heat, heat, heat. Okay, it's a build up, and by the time you're in the middle of the book, you can't put it down because she has so many questions she has to answer, so many things she has to deal with, so many things she has to figure out, whether she wants to go, stay, or be with him. And you'll enjoy it. So, any other questions?
I think she's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes, it seems like Eva is frozen.
Oh.
So I know a couple of you have read the book. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can
Okay,
hear you.
great. I know that a couple of you have read the book. You guys had any thoughts? I mean, based on Joel's synopsis, and how did you feel? How did you feel about it? Was it? And you can maybe talk about if you are a reader of romance. How it may have been different from some of the other romances that you've read.
I enjoyed it. I don't typically read too many romances, but this was pretty good. I enjoyed the. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
The
sorry.
whole, the whole dog chase the cat, but really she's a lioness type of thing. And I liked the build up because you were waiting for them to just, and it just never happened. And then when it finally happened, you're like, oh, so sweet. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. And you're right. Like once you get in the middle, you just can't even, not even the middle. I mean, from the beginning, because when he told the bartender that he wanted to date her, I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. So yeah. And there were a couple other points that I guess I can't talk about because you don't want to give the book away, but.
That's true.
You just knew that, oh yeah, that's gonna happen, or it was really good. I liked it. Good, great.
So I got missing for a second, and I'm back.
Yes.
So Sherry asked her question. Marcia, did you get to ask, or?
No, not as yet. Not as yet. Actually, let me answer the question that Carol posed.
Okay.
We were more or less talking about the book. I usually read romance. I read a lot of paranormal fiction because I'm actually writing. I write paranormal fiction, so this romance was actually completely different.
Mhm.
It was actually completely wonderful. I really liked the book. Halfway through, I was thinking, we could have finished halfway through, and it could have been 2 books because I had it on my Kindle, and I was reading, and I said, okay, I'm going to stay up, and I'm going to finish reading. But then when I watched them, I realized I was just like at 50 something, but I was like, what? Did I have more? But it was really so good that you could have actually cut it off at that point, and I was saying, okay, maybe there's a book coming up because I was just waiting for it, and I said, oh gosh, I have to sleep. I'll finish it tomorrow. I really love the Caribbean characters. The different characters were so. It was like some of them I felt as if I knew them. It was very Caribbean.
Like which ones?
I like Tanti and I like the Reverend. Oh my gosh. So I think
it sounds like
yes. So I think those Caribbean characters that they added, although they weren't the main characters, they really added to the book. And the hurricane was really wonderfully described. I really like it. Although I've never been I've been a tropical storm, but not hurricane level as yet. But the description was excellent.
Thank you.
I also wanted to.
Go ahead.
I also wanted to find out about a heat rating. What is the process for the love scenes? I really
That
I
was
think
going to be
most
my
people want.
question.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't hear that question. What was that question again?
When I put the
your
book
heat
out, I
rating.
gave it a specific heat rating.
Oh,
That I actually got the advice from Leanne Spicer, who's a Trinidadian romance writer,
Mhm.
author as well, and she has some excellent books out. And so she was the one who kind of gave me the idea. I guess that romance books have different heat ratings, so that gives you an idea of what to expect. There's a
oh.
Jamaican author, J.L. Campbell, who writes, and there's absolutely no real heat in her books, and the books are wonderful without it. But and then of course you can get books that are extremely explicit in the description of the interaction of the guys and the girls. This is a PG-13. What is it, Eva? What can I
Oh,
say?
yeah. I think PG-13 pushing towards R, but not the after hours ones.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Some time ago, I read about a rating about chili peppers. I don't remember which. I think it's no Penguin does the penguins. I don't remember which book, which publisher does the chili peppers. But I would put it's on a scale of 1 to 5. One chili pepper is hand holding. 2 chili peppers is like sexual interaction, but not detailed enough to be graphic. And 5 chili peppers would be like erotica. So I would give it a 2 chili peppers in that case.
Okay, now what kind of chili peppers are these though? I mean, let's be real. Are these like
Caribbean ones.
okay.
I think that moving on to chili peppers, we all know what happened, but we don't have to.
Okay.
So, what was your I think I don't know if Marsha was asking the same question, but what was your process when you were going through and writing the love scenes? Like, I mean, let's just be real. Were you going back in your own like arsenal of activities, or was it you had seen somewhere? I don't know, something that somebody else told you was great. I mean, I knew Sherry was gonna be like, Eva, shut up. Sherry's
If
looking
it
at me like
helps.
I hate you so much. But
If it helps.
I gotta ask. I gotta ask. You don't have to answer, but I gotta ask.
If it helps, I am married, so maybe I can do some experimenting. I don't know, but but the way I normally do my love scenes, I write it as an extension. So I don't, leave a blank space and then come back and say I'll write it later. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
hear you.
Yeah.
I don't leave a blank space and then I'm going to write it later. It just flows with the scene. So whatever the characters in my mind is feeling, because pretty much the characters talk to me, and whatever they're feeling, I let that drive the emotion. So whether they go all the way or they break off or they, do other stuff other than, is this video rated PG or?
Oh, it's 9 o'clock. They need to be in bed right now. Okay.
Yeah,
They are in the bed. The rest of us are up. They need to be asleep.
yeah, they're definitely sleeping in my house.
Yes.
So whether they do oral or they intercourse or they just pet a little and break, it has to do with the mood, how they're feeling, what the interaction was before it, because it's the love scene that drives the sexual interaction, not the other way around.
Now, the plot of it. What would you say like inspired you to go that direction? What because you said this was probably one of the first ones that starred an indigenous woman. What was one of the things that drove you to do that? Did you meet somebody or talk to somebody, have a conversation that led you to that?
Not quite. I like characters that are different, especially female characters. For example, in my first book, A Marriage of Convenience, the character is an overweight, really overweight person.
Mm-hmm.
I like characters who are different because I think that everybody deserves a happily ever after. And so I was seeking for a character that's not the stereotypical, really bony, slim, overly beautiful person that you find most characters, or accomplished person. They always a big businesswoman or things like that. I was looking for a character that was very different to what is out there in most of the stories. And so my husband happens to be Dominican, and his sister-in-law was raised on the Kalinaga territories. So I got a little bit of inspiration from the interactions with them, but mainly it's my quest to make the characters very different to the usual stereotype.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to leave room since I've already asked all the embarrassing questions and Sherry's looking at me sideways. I'm going to go ahead and leave. Y'all go ahead and get your questions in.
I actually wanted to go back to the what you were talking about before with respect to the love scenes. And one of the things I liked about the book, and one of the reasons why, as Marsha said, it's not a short book. It's very involved. The characters are very well developed. Is that they kind of get the couple, they kind of go to the edge and come back. Like they get to a position where they're hugging and they're kissing, and you feel that they're alone, and you feel that something's really going to happen, and then they pull back, and then they get there again, and like how do you decide, or how does that whole process work in terms of developing the scenes and getting them deciding when it's gonna happen, or what's gonna happen?
I guess it's when they are feeling it, because for example, the first few love scenes, if the woman is reluctant because they've only recently met, she's aware that he is a playboy and a party guy, and she wants something substantial if she was to have a boyfriend. In fact, she doesn't even want a man. So she pulls back a lot because she's afraid. And when he finally breaks her down a little and gets her, a little farther, she gets uncertain, she pulls back, and then because he's now falling in love, he is willing to wait. You know what I mean? So it's more character driven, where I feel I don't give an outline and make an outline and stick to the outline. The story plays in my mind. Where the characters lead, that's where I follow. Now, if I find the characters are taking too long, I might throw in another character somewhere to hasten things along. But for me, the characters do it on their own terms.
Which is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. You really felt that in the book, that they were genuine and they were actually doing it by their own terms.
Hello?
Hey, you there?
Yeah, it's just.
Can you still hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Sherry,
Yeah,
are
I can
you there?
hear, but I couldn't hear what Marsha just said.
Oh, okay. Marsha, can you repeat what you said?
I was telling her that what she said was very true. When I read it, the characters really seemed to be going at their own pace, and it was by their own terms, and it felt genuine. It didn't feel like it was something forced. It really felt genuine when I was reading it. The other thing. Oh,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Marsha.
The other thing I think she answered it. I was wondering if she lived in Dominica, how, what was your process? Because I read that you weren't from Dominica, so I was wondering how would you, but the fact that you told me that your husband is from
Yeah,
Dominica,
my
that's,
husband's from Dominica.
yeah.
I haven't lived there, but I go there so often. I may as well live
Mm.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because
One
it's
of the
sometimes hard to get, sorry,
no,
it's
it's
sometimes
fine.
hard to get,
Continue.
yeah, it's sometimes hard to get that natural feel of an island if you're not actually living there. So I
That's
was
true.
wondering, yeah, I was wondering what was the link?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, my sweetie's from there, and like I said, we go back every 3 years. We go very often. Our cuisine is a mixture of Haitian and Dominican foods, even now. So even my kids are exposed to all the different foods and things of that nature. So they don't see it as exotic dishes. They see it as mommy's cooking or daddy's cooking. So
So,
they
Okay.
And now you
so
can
how did?
understand
Oh, go
why
ahead.
she associates romance with Dominica.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe that was very inspirational to her.
Well,
Yes.
even if I didn't have that romantic relationship with the Dominican, just the place alone, what I love about Dominica is it's very mountainous. It's very different from most any other Caribbean island I've seen. It's very mountainous. You don't have any lot of beaches or anything like that, but you have all these nice Caribbean mountain streams, and you have these nice hot springs. And
Okay.
when you walk through them, it feels really, really romantic in a different kind of way to when we walk on a beach.
I need to give me a ticket.
Yes.
So how
Yeah.
did you get the American male um, perspective out of that? We know how you got the Dominican part of it, but how did you get that whole American male party animal? Is that somebody else that you know, or where did that come
it's,
from?
it's a combination of characters, but generally, I live in America, so I'm seeing it every day, you know, uh, in my regular interactions. So I am from St. Kitts, my husband's from Dominica, but we live in the US. So
Okay.
I'm seeing the interactions all the time, and they have all these different categories. You have the players, the serious ones, you name it. And his character is not necessarily a particular person that's based off, but it's a combination of traits from different people.
Okay.
Got you. So are they? So it's possible that it's traits that aren't not necessarily, you know, singular to an American male. It's just male in general.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's yeah. And that person could have been an African, a European, a South
He's just a
American,
man.
Okay.
and he's just a man.
Just a man. Okay.
One of the many kinds of men.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I know. I said I was gonna sit back, but y'all go ahead, jump back in. Sorry. I'm gonna stay on Twitter where I belong. I'm sorry. Oh, for those of you that are watching, you can tweet us hashtag Caribbean Book Club if you want to win your own copy, and you can tweet until tomorrow night this same time. So tomorrow night, well, by the time this broadcast is over, so tomorrow night, 10 p.m., you can use the hashtag Caribbean Book Club and tweet your questions, your thoughts, and things like that about the book, and possibly win your own copy. So there's that. Okay?
Sherry, I haven't heard
Yeah,
from you
if I
much.
may.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
don't. I mean,
See, Sherry's trying not to give away the book. That's what it is.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I was getting messages from her while she was reading, like, oh my God, Eva, listen. She's like, I can't sleep. I need to go to sleep, but I can't sleep until I finish.
Because we've
So,
spoken a lot about the first half of the book, but we haven't really spoken about the second. And I think it's okay to divulge a little bit about what happens.
Okay, so Sherry, that means you can go ahead.
Well, I was wondering, like, your involvement. Well, I was really just wondering your involvement with American families, because I feel like you hit that family on the nose, like all the different characters. You know, you had the over-involved mother-in-law, you had the sister-in-law, you know, you had the brother who was with the sister who want to be the sister, you know, been waiting to get married into the family forever, and, you know, it was like so many
Like I said,
characters.
you can
in
take
the
those
book.
same characters.
Yes.
You can take those very same characters and put any nationality on them.
Oh, yeah.
They would still work because they are not generic, but they are characters that are in any culture, any given culture. You can find characters like them. Um, I've seen lots of mothers who are just really micromanagers.
Yes.
So much so that you want to scream. And then I've seen a lot of mother-in-laws who are just hands off. So those characters, that family itself, can be any nationality.
But where did the characters come from, and what were you trying to? I mean, you could have had him. He could have been an only child.
Right.
What were you trying to
If he was an only
bring to the
child,
story?
the thing is, one of the things was conflict. In every romance, there has to be conflict. So there were conflicts on several levels. There was a conflict on her, meeting Kyle and being so different from Kyle and then falling in love. There's a conflict on her when she finally falls in love and, everything's devastated and she has to leave. There's a conflict on whether she should leave her island or stay to rebuild it. And there's a conflict of his family. Now, if he was an only child, then we wouldn't have that conflict.
Right.
The conflict comes from the interaction between his brothers and his mother. He has a sister. His sister doesn't play much role because she's away, she's running away. And I'm trying to give her own story. She's running away from her mother's micromanagement. I'm trying to give her own story. But the brothers, they have this kind of bond that they have very much influence on each other. They have a lot of influence on each other. And they're very ultra protective of each other. Okay? And that drives the conflict that happens when they finally get together and move to the US.
Okay, that conflict was actually greater than the hurricane in the end. Yes, it was. I also like the character development of the mother. I really like how it was like she was a villain, and then afterwards she became a bit of the hero in the end, and so I really love that character development. It was so easy to just.
She really changed forever, Marshall?
No, not at all.
I don't think she changed, but she felt
redeemed
remorse.
herself. Yeah, she redeemed herself.
They did right moving.
Yeah, to start back interfering again.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing. Hello?
Oh,
Hello, we are
you guys
all.
there?
Okay.
We're still here. Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, so Marcia, did you have a question? Did you start to ask something?
No, I was just on the character development of the mother was really good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice for her to have her own story where the kids are interfering in her life too?
You know what?
That might be a wonderful book too.
I was about to say,
That a book two coming out?
They would not have to.
Is that a hint that we are getting? Because I mean,
maybe. It's still swirling around in my mind. It's kind of like an unformed hurricane.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, my
Sounds like a monsoon.
Yes, mommy finds love and all the boys interfere. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's a party.
I would read it. I would read it. Okay, I would read it. Okay.
And that might be more of a comedy than a romance. I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
Unless mommy gets caught in some of these 2 or 3 chili pepper situations, now that alone would be outstanding.
Oh, okay.
Just put it out
there.
there.
Picture that one.
I can't
nobody.
picture mommy in a tree. I cannot picture mommy in a tree.
Mommy
Well,
in a pepper.
I have a lisp and my CHs and my SHs are just going crazy. I
That's
can't
not a thing. No
picture mommy
chili
in a
peppers for her at all.
chili pepper situation.
No.
Oh my
No.
God.
Well,
Not even one.
maybe 1 or 2, but not 3.
Maybe one.
Oh. So this would be more of a comedy book than a
Yes.
than a romance.
I think
Okay.
so.
That's fair. That's fair. So, so as far as you as a writer, how did you get started doing this? Like, is this your full-time thing? How did you get going?
Well, where should I start? When I was 8 or when I was 15 or when I can't really reveal my age.
You know, you can start at 8.
I've always been writing all my life. I don't know why, I just like it. So when I was 8 or either 8 or 7, I'm not sure which one, I remember writing a little book for my sister. You know, it was on loose leaf. I cut it up and stapled it and put little plastic on it, and I gave it. And guess what it was about? A princess who fell in love.
Aww, so your first book was romance.
Romance.
That is sweet.
Oh my God.
When I was in high school, and just a few days ago, some of my friends reminded me about it on Facebook. I wrote a full-length romance. It was kind of like the Sweet Dreams romance, so there were no chili peppers. Okay. And I wrote it all longhand on loose leaf, and then typed it out on a manual typewriter. And I had one copy of it. I sent it to the whole manuscript. I sent it to a publisher. Never heard from them.
I never got it back.
Never got it back. So that was really silly. But when I actually started writing in earnest to publish was when I was on maternity leave with my first daughter. She was she's now 12 years old. When I had a lot of complications with her birth, and I pretty much had a brush with death, if I can put it that way. And when I recovered, I said, you know what? If I had died, those stories in my head, because I have all these stories in my head, would have died with me. So while I was on maternity leave, I started writing, and I did my first full length, which I tried to publish, and nobody wanted it. So I just kept writing, and I wrote the second one, and Dorchester Publishing, they picked it up, and it got published. So I kept writing since then. I've written a whole lot of stuff. Let's put it this way, I describe my work in progress as my harem. Okay, I have a lot of different stories, half-written, quarter-written ideas, and every now and then I'll, revisit one and work on it a little more. So I have my harem of stories because they're all in my mind, and I just have to get them out there.
Okay.
Wow. Now that's motivation right there. I love that. That if you died, the stories were going to die with you. That's motivation right there.
It is.
Wow. Wow. So.
Published romance, Joe?
What's it?
Have you only published romance, or have you?
No, I've also done a kind of suspense, but it was part of the Pretty Little Liars series, like a fan fiction. Amazon.com, when they were launching their Kindle Worlds, they invited several authors to write short stories based on the different worlds. They had Gossip Girl, they had Vampire Diaries, all of those. I chose to do Little Lies, and I wrote a suspense short story, young adult, based on that. And then just last year, my daughter, who since she was 5 years old, has been harassing me to write a story with her, but I keep telling her she can't read what I write, so she can't write a story with me.
Okay.
Eventually, she said, asked me if I can write a children's story. So we wrote a children's story called Zapped, Danger in the Cell. And it's about four kids. It's a science adventure novel about four kids who got. Oh, thank you, Carol. It's about four. I would run to get it, but I don't have it close there. It's about four kids who got shrunk and entered into a living cell, an animal cell, and they had these really big adventures in the cell, and their quest was to escape the cell and get back big. And by doing that, by going through the cell and having all these adventures, the kids are actually learning about the cell. So it's
Now
under the name Jewel Daniel. Yes, go ahead.
You took that and made it into something else. Like, it wasn't just a book. Wasn't there like a live interactive thing that went with it? And wasn't there was more to it?
Yes, it was Zambia.
Okay.
We Port Discovery, when they saw the book, they invited us to do a workshop for the STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, in spring. And we converted an entire room into a cell, so the children going through it would feel like they have been shrunk and entering into a cell. It was
That sounds so nice.
It was fun. It was crazy. It was a lot of work.
So as far as being ambitious, like the young lady in the story, are there some qualities that are within you? Because I mean, you do a lot. You do a lot, and you've obviously inspired your daughter to do a lot. Would you say that some of those qualities you just kind of eased into your character in this book here?
Yes, that is true. For one, the way she grew up there are similarities between the way she grew up and the way I grew up. And I've always been taught from I was old enough to think that education is the way forward. And so I did that. I have a PhD in biology. And so I worked my way through that simply because I've been taught that education is the way forward. And but I always like writing still, so I guess I found a way to combine, because I love science, especially biology. I love I love writing, and I found a way to combine all three of them, all three things that I like: writing, science, and I like teaching also. And I found a way to combine them.
So you're a mom. How do you manage to do all of this? How is this even possible?
Oh, let's put it this way. Most of the writing begins in my head, okay? Which means I can do it anywhere, while I'm driving, while I'm cooking, while I'm eating, while I'm working. I can do it anywhere. By the time I get to the computer, I already know where the story is going, everything they said in the story, so I already know. So a lot of people talk about writer's block. I have never had writer's block, because it's already hashed out in my mind before it even goes on paper. Well, not paper, computer.
Okay.
I can't write on paper. If I write on paper, I can't read the writing when I'm finished. And then in terms of my writing, I schedule it around whatever I have to do. So sometimes when I go to pick up my oldest daughter from the bus stop, I have my other two kids with me. I send them on the playground, and I'm sitting and I'm writing. Sometimes I go to the soccer matches, or the soccer practices, and I'm writing. I even write when I'm doing other bodily functions that I won't mention here.
Okay, so basically,
Oh,
the time that we take, 'cause don't act like y'all don't do everything in there too. Y'all be updating on Facebook. I'm there. We know you do. You know. Some of y'all I know where your Facebook posts come from. I know it. I know it. So don't be surprised that other work gets done in there.
Right.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left, and I would like for you to give us your best sales pitch. And I'm going to ask Carol, because she is a super fan of the book, and and Jewel to give your biggest sales pitch for people to buy and read and comment on this book.
Okay, I'll have to let Carol go first because I am terrible at selling anything.
Oh boy, the pressure's on. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, we hear you.
yes, yes.
All right. When I first read this book, one of the things I loved about it was that yes, it's a romance, but you might have grown up reading Mills and Boons, and the guy kisses the girl, something happens, they break up, they get back together at the end. You can kind of just know exactly what's going to happen. And what I loved about this book is that yes, it's a romance, they're wonderful characters, but there's more to it. There's a lot to the story. You learn about Dominica, you learn about the indigenous people there. You get an insight into their lives. You really get into the characters, and you really get to know them and feel that they're not just two puppets who are being manipulated into different positions, but you're seeing real people's lives being affected. And also, as Jewel had mentioned when she talked about wanting to write about real characters, real people who you might actually be, or you can relate to. That's what you get here. It's not the most
Cookie
beautiful
cutter.
woman in the world with the most gorgeous, muscle-bound, rich, successful man in the world. They're flawed characters, just like we are. And so I recommend this book to anyone who enjoys some romance, but also is looking for something with some substance, and wanting to come away with feeling like you've read something that has affected your life. That's my pitch.
Okay, now Sherry, before I even got my book, she was like, "Listen, this book is greatness." So let me see if I can get a little. What is your one or two lines that say you have to go out and get this, or at least put your name in the hat to win this. Put your name in so you can win this on Twitter. What would you
I think
say?
it's like Carol said, it's a real story, real people. You can relate to it, and you can see those characters in your life as you're reading. I was like, oh my God, I can see us as a family like doing this. So, but and it leaves you wanting to know the story. I mean, you when you think it's predictable, it's not. You're like, oh, that happened. So it just keeps you wanting to read it, and it's a happy story, like Jewel said. It's got that happy ending, and it leaves you feeling good at the end. Like I was like, oh, that was nice. Yeah.
Marsha, what would you say to somebody who asks you, so should I read this or not?
Of course, I would say definitely you should read it. I've read a lot of romance. I think this year is might be my romance year. I'm reading a little bit too much. I'm in too many romance groups, but this book was wonderful. I think when I have to pair it against the other books that I've read, it was well written, and it's a go-to book that you would read over and over. You would say, okay, maybe maybe you read a book you didn't really like so much, and you said, okay, maybe I need some good feelings back, so let me go read Hurricane of the Heart. So it's that nice. It's really it's a classic romance. I think it's definitely what a romance should be. You have the two characters, you have everything coming together, and you feel really nice at the end. You feel really happy, ready to go out. Yes.
Well,
I hope you like my pitch.
okay,
two thumbs up.
so Jewel, that means you're ready now. You have heard
Yes.
some good pitches. So let's hear what you got.
It's a romance with a difference. It's a romance where you can feel the characters. The characters can be you. It spans the beautiful island of Dominica to the shore, to the lovely suburbs of New Jersey, and it has very strong characters. And in the end, when you finish reading it, you would know you have read, you enjoy, and you just want more and more and more and more.
Yes.
Okay, so speaking of wanting more and more, are we going to have, like, I don't know, a monsoon of the heart? I mean, what's next? What's going on?
Yeah, what's next?
What's happening? We want to know what's next.
I am not certain, but I am working on all the things. Like I said, I have my harem of WIPs, and I am right now, working on giving the sister story, and I'm thinking of, and actually I have like an outline in my mind for giving the mother a story.
Yes,
And again, that story is gonna be like more like comedy, and it's going to be a May-December.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Which one is she? Is she May or is she December? That's what we want to know. Which one is she?
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh my gosh.
That might be a real comedy. I don't know. Okay, so the links to purchase the book are on the Facebook event page and also on Twitter. I've posted them on Twitter. You can go to @SocaMomDC. You can use the hashtag Caribbean Book Club and go through the tweets and see, how you can win a copy or how you can buy a copy. If you want to take that chance, that's up to you. But all of the links are there for you guys. This has been the Caribbean Book Club for August. It's Hurricane of the Heart by Jewel Amethyst. I hope you guys will go out and get it. It is on Kindle and paperback version. I will tell you now, it is over 300 pages. So you're going to, and of course, people have been reading it in like a day and a half because they can't put it down. Nobody's going to tell you it's going to take a week to read because it just, it takes, you're not going to be able to put it down. You're going to finish it in no time. So, had a good time. This is Eva from SocaMom.com. We had Sherry and Marsha and Carol and our author for this month, Jewel. We had a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you guys for reading the book. And
thank you. Excellent book.
You're welcome.
And thank you for hosting me and having me here. I'm so glad you invited me.
Oh,
and
man, this was fun.
I really enjoyed it.
Yes, it was
fun.
I was so nervous at first. I was texting Carol back and forth. Oh, gosh, I'm so scared.
Oh, no, now she should have told you. I hope she told you that these chats are nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah, it was
fun. You're going to be okay.
Man, these are fun. This is like, except for my ridiculous questions, other than that, it's always a lot of fun. So we will see you guys next month. We have another romance going on next month, and hopefully we will have some more, if Jewel will be willing to come back and talk to us, some more of her books, and you won't be nervous next time. You'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to go.
I'll be fine next time.
Yeah, you'll be like, these bras are no problem. They're fun. They're fun.
I'm a pro now.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. And to everybody who watched, thank you so much. And we will see you next month for the next book. You can join our book club on Facebook. Just go to SocaMom, to the SocaMom Facebook page, and there's a link to it from there. Or you can also check Twitter at SocaMomDC, and the hashtag is Caribbean Book Club. So we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.